This time, I mean business. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through the series that I have got on my list for 2025. Every single year I put together a series list that I really want to concentrate on in the coming 12 months. Whether it is that I want to start that series, I want to read the next book that I have on my shelf, or I want to finish it out completely. I haven't gone overstretched here with the number of books. I have kind of overstretched with the amount of pages. There are a couple of books on here that are super chunky, and that isn't something that I tend to reach for. So I'm hoping that putting it on this list is really going to spur me on. Some of these are also on my self-destruct for 2025 list. So having them on two separate lists means that I have double the opportunity to either really focus on them or completely forget that they exist. First one up is the Billionaire Dreamland series by Lauren Asher. This one really intimidates me because it's a darker romance than what I usually tend to go for. This is set in a theme park though, and I kind of enjoy a theme park, but not the roller coaster side of it. I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to heights, so going on roller coasters and looking for that thrill isn't something that I look for in a theme park. But I'm excited to see what the atmosphere is going to be like, and if Lauren Asher is going to actually be able to transport me to a theme park, or if it's just going to plod along. Next up is some emotional damage, because I really want to finish out the Beartown trilogy by Frederick Backman in 2025. Beartown is one of my favorite books of all time, and it took me a really long time to actually get into it. I think that's because when I first read it, it was too warm. These books always in my mind associate with cold, with snow, with frost. So they feel like either late in the year or very early on in the year, when the temperatures are in the minus values, when everything is cold and dark and dreary. And this is the second book in the series. This is the one that I have physically on my TBR because there is no way in hell I can hold up the winners while I'm reading it. It is about 600 and something pages, and it is really intimidating, not just because of the content, but because of the size. But I'm really going to try it out this year. I'm really going to spur myself on. I have a couple of ideas for what I want to do with the series, and let's just see if it gives me the emotional damage that I'm expecting it to. I put Elle Kennedy on the 2024 list, but I put a different series on there than what I've got here. I have gone with the Off Campus series for 2025 because I actually have got a physical book of the deal. And I have a feeling, if it's a book that I have physically staring out at me every time I look at my bookshelves, it might spur me on to read it a little bit more than the Avalon Bay series did, because all three of those books are on my Kindle. So when they are not visible to me as easily as a physical book is going to be, I think I just forget that they exist. They go into this kind of tiny little part of my mind that I don't call on very often. So if I'm seeing the deal, then hopefully it's going to spur me on. This is a hockey romance, which isn't something that I have read a whole lot of, and the ones that I have read, I haven't had the best of luck with. But let's see how we get along here. I really wanted to try Elle Kennedy's books, which is evident by how many of them I have at my disposal. So let's just see if I am actually going to enjoy her work, or if I've kind of wasted my time and energy by picking up all of these books. I'm going to finish out a series in 2025, and that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I read The Bullet That Missed in around October or so of 2024, and I loved it. I absolutely love this group of octogenarians and all of the hijinks that they get up to and all of the crimes that they have to solve, because they feel like the police in their town isn't really doing as much as they should be, so they're here to lend a hand. This is the kind of chaos that I live for, and I am so intrigued as to what's going to happen in The Last Devil to Die. My dad and my brother have both read this book, and they've both really enjoyed it, so I am the last in the train to get this, and I'm really hopeful that I can get it read, and by the next time that I'm at home and all of us are together, we can actually sit down, have a couple of drinks, and discuss these books finally. A kind of weird one, because I've read the first book and the last book, but nothing in between, is the Bromance Book Club series by Lyssa Kay Adams. I've read the Bromance Book Club, and I've read A Very Merry Bromance, and nothing in between has come across my path. Until now. I am going to make it my mission to actually read the three books that are in the middle, starting out with Isn't It Romantic, which I think is the second book in the series. And I just want to get these ticked off. Even if I just read one book in the series, that will already work for me. I just feel like I can't have only read the first and the last and not have gone in between. It feels a little bit odd. So let's try and correct that in 2025. I'm gonna try another subgenre out for the first time in 2025, and that is historical romance. This kind of comes with a caveat in that I have tried this specific book before, and now that I know what's coming, I'm a little bit more prepared for what I'm about to face. And that is the first book in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I've got a couple of reasons that I need to read these. One, I am a traditionalist. I don't watch series or movies without having read the source text. So I have to read the first book and the second and the fourth before I can start watching the series on Netflix. Two, these aren't actually my books. I have got all 8 of the books, but I got them as a loan from a friend of mine. She hasn't come looking for me yet to get the books back, but I do feel like it's going to be imminent. She's probably going to send me a couple of messages in the next couple of months saying, hey, have you actually read these books or not? And 3, one of my good friends here, Margaret from the Word Nerd, has read the first 4 of these, and she's done a kind of a deep dive into what the books were about. And I want to be able to associate with that video a lot better. So I'm going to read the first 4 books, then I'm going to come back, watch the video, actually take it as a study analysis, and then I will actually understand what the points are that she's making. Then we go into the 2 big boys. These are the ones that truly intimidate me by how chunky they are. I am not a very big books girly. I kind of tend to stay around the 300 to 450 pages mark. So when a book comes along and it is almost 800 pages of narrative, that terrifies me. But I've got reasons that I want to read this book, so I picked it up and I'm hopefully going to get to it across 2025. And that is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. The reasons that I really want to pick this up is that it is a rugby romance set in Ireland. I adore rugby. It's one of my favorite sports to watch. I've never played it, but I love watching like the Six Nations, the Autumn Internationals, the Rugby World Cup. Anytime that it is on TV, I am sitting there watching it. I've been to a couple of rugby matches with my brother and I really like the atmosphere that's in the stadium. It's also set in Ireland, and that is something that is just bread and butter to me. I absolutely love books that are set in my home country, particularly because I don't live there anymore. It's something that really connects me back to home. It brings me back home a little bit cheaper than buying a Ryanair flight. So reading a culture that I am used to, reading the slang that I have grown up saying and hearing, and also associating it with a sport that I really enjoy, I'm hopeful that this book is going to work for me. And if it does, then I know I've got another series of massively chunky books that I can get my hands on. The other big chunky boy isn't as big as Binding 13. This one only has a paltry 570 pages, which is like a night's reading compared to the 800. But I'm a little bit intimidated by the size either way, and that is Mile High by Liz Tomford. I know that this series has been in the Goodreads Choice Awards for the last couple of years running, and that is what's intriguing me. This is also about a flight attendant, and it is written by a flight attendant herself. And I really love that kind of self-insert books where it's writing what you know so explicitly. I'm so hopeful that this is going to be a book that works for me. It is a little bit of a polyamory book, and that isn't something that I've ever read before. I haven't read a whole lot of polyamorous stories, but hopefully this is going to be a good introduction to it. Those are all of the series that I have got my eye on for 2025 and that I will hopefully have either started or finished by the end of the year. Have you got any series on your list this year, and how far in are you with some of them? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a simple book stacks emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.